Hi, Instagram friends. Hope everybody's doing well. I haven't been on in a while. I thought I would pop on and just start talking to you about things that helped me through the process early on of divorce, with my healing, with my rediscovering who I am, which, by the way, is an ongoing process. I think we do that continually in loops and cycles, in worm-like lines. Just because we hit different milestones in our life, we hit different life events, and we go through different experiences, and with that, our finding ourselves and who we are authentically changes. But I think deep down we have a center core that's pretty familiar to us along the whole journey and path throughout our lifetime. And sometimes it's just a matter of life experiences and life events that throw us off course, and we kind of just forget about who that person is at our center. So the last 8 years for me has certainly been the biggest gift in a lot of ways. I talked about that in my last post, how I heard recently that divorce is a gift, and not that I'm not trying to undermine marriage. I strongly believe in marriage, and I am not making light of a divorce. It was one of the hardest things that I ever went through. However, looking back at it now after 8 years, it was a gift to myself in that it was something that pushed me to find who I was again at my center, to figure out who that girl was that was not defined by a marriage, by a relationship, by being a mom of kids. So in that respect, it was a gift of self-discovery, of, finding my center again, and really pushing me to become more authentically me, push past the fear of trying to fit in and belong, and trying to choose authenticity over those things. And tonight I'll just talk to you maybe a little bit about one thing that helped me out a lot, and that was fitness for me. I got to a certain point, probably a year and a half after divorce, and not that I wasn't somebody that was somewhat active and eating healthy, but it certainly wasn't a priority, and especially after the divorce, it's sort of, your life spins and spirals and different things take priority. But I got to a point where my kids were still young. They were probably 6 and 8 at that point. And I found that I couldn't keep up. Their energy levels as kids are higher anyway. But I wasn't able to keep up mentally with that energy. It was less of a physical thing. I could do those things, but I just didn't have the drive to try and do those things with my kids. And probably turned to things like TV a lot to use as entertainment for them, to give myself a break. And I got tired of it. I hit the wall and said, this has to stop. I need to be able to do fun things with my kids. I need to be able to push past this mental exhaustion and move forward. So I took my health into my own hands and made small changes. And that is probably my biggest piece of advice, excuse me, is make small changes. Don't try and do it too big. Don't try and set your goals so high that you'll fail after a week or 2 weeks. It truly is baby steps. Even pick a goal that is so small, it's laughable, because you know you're going to achieve it all the time. And kick that goal for a few weeks, even a few months before you increase the goal. And that will just give you the mental hurrah that you can do this. It will give you such a pump up instead of taking the wind out of your sail, and it will encourage you to continue on. So for me, excuse me, I started eating healthy first. So I tried to cut out more of the sugar and processed foods for me. I didn't necessarily do it for my kids, because that's a whole other ballgame, guys. Let's be honest. So I did it for me first, because a lot of energy comes from what we put into our body, and not necessarily about how active we keep our body. There's bigger change that happens in our kitchen than in our gym. So I wanted to start with that first. And once I started that, it's a continuation as you go. It's certainly become a lifestyle for me, but it took a long time to get to that point. And there are things that I still try to clean up along the way. And that does not mean that I don't eat treats and I don't eat snacky junk food. It just means that more often than not, I'm choosing healthy whole foods and real foods and lots of extra vegetables and fruit and lean meats, things like that, fish. If you want more information on how I personally did that, feel free to reach out to me. I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a fitness instructor, but I'm always willing to help and encourage and just let you know what worked for me. And then I added exercise more frequently than what I was doing. I had a treadmill that was used to hold laundry, mostly. So I just gave myself a goal of twice a week being on there, not running necessarily, just moving for 30 minutes a week. And once I hit that goal, I moved it to 3 times a week and kept going from there. Once I sort of tired of that or wanted a change, I can't remember which came first, but I started using weights, and I've also done yoga. Now I don't use a treadmill at all. I do a lot of walking on my lunch hours at work with friends. That's becomes my social time on weekends to catch up with girlfriends and go for walks. I love to go hiking if I can, but we don't have beautiful, gorgeous mountains around us like some of you are fortunate to have. We do have a lot of forest trails, and that is a big healer for me, is just immersing myself in nature. So it works to get your exercise and get your nature fix. I do a lot of walking, hiking, and I do weights because that works for me. It's something that I love. And I think that's another piece, is that you have to find something that you love. And again, you don't have to go full into it. It might not be something that ever comes easy to you or that you ever totally love doing. It's just moving your body. It's trying to get yourself in a more healthy state inside, so that you are able to move. But it's a combination of, mental energy too, moving the blood through your body and the oxygen through your brain. And I think the magic number is 20 minutes of physical exercise completely replaces the oxygen in your brain. Don't quote me on that, but something like that. So it really, it sort of makes you think that you'll be more tired after you exercise, but it actually gives me more energy and I feel better after I do that. So that helped me in huge ways. I cannot even tell you the change in my mental state and the energy levels that I saw totally shifting, where I was able to enjoy time with my kids again and do the fun things outside and not get as tired or as frustrated. So that's one of the biggest things that I used. I have a lot of things that I've used to push myself through the healing process and to rediscover who I am at the center, but I really tapped into a place that was really dormant for a long time inside me. Hadn't really been tapped into much at all, and found something that I loved that I didn't really even know that I loved because I hadn't tried some of those things. So that's another big part of it, right? This process is you don't know what you actually like until you try it. Maybe you didn't like it when you were 20, but when you're 40, you love it. Just like how we learn to love different foods and different drinks. So that's my little spiel today. That's one of my big tips, is to get your body moving. Get your body moving. It shifts the energy everywhere for you, and you will notice a difference. So feel free to DM me. Let me know if this is something that you use. Do you use movement and exercise to push through healing, to work through emotions, and to shift your energy? Would love to hear from you.